Greetings guys, gals and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. I hope that you are well and I hope that you are fighting because there's a lot to be fighting for. As usual, there will be a link to the page on my website that is petitions, donations, emails to send to MPs for a whole bunch of different causes, so please check that out. I try to update it regularly. Something you might not know about me is that I was actually a junior piercer when I was 17 until I left the job when I was 18. A majority of my job was not actually doing the piercing, but talking clients through the process, helping them find the jewelry for them, sterilizing, setting up the piercings, doing markings, cleaning it up, all that. I did basically everything except the piercings most of the time because doing the actual piercing is terrifying. I did do a few, but it wasn't my favorite thing in the world. I liked doing everything else. So because of that, I have a ton of piercings. I've had, I think, like 24 piercings over time. I've got about 18 left. And so obviously I get a lot of questions about piercings and I want to help you out with that. So I'm going to be answering some of your piercing questions. I cover quite a lot of topics in this video, so here are some timestamps for different things that I discuss, and I've also left them in the description if you want to click straight on them. Enjoy. So, let's get into it. The first question I thought I would answer is that someone asked what my best story is as a piercer, because obviously there's a lot of, you get some people. And so I thought I would answer because I have a really fun story. Well, I think it's really fun, so I'm gonna share it with you. So one time I was sitting behind the counter, and then across the square I see these three men approaching, and one of them is wearing fairy wings and glittery heels that are way too big for him, and a tiara, and he's holding a bottle of lube. And naturally I'm looking at this like, oh my god, that is so funny, and I was getting really excited because I really wanted to know this story. And so they come into the shop, and of course it's for a stag do or a bachelor party type thing, and he like puts the lube down on the counter, and his friends are like, this man is here to get his nipple pierced. It is part of our celebration for our stag do. And I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking beautiful. And so I'm just like talking them through the process, getting them to fill out the form. And then, so, we go through into the piercing room. They didn't want to take off his like fairy wings and stuff, so they cut a hole in his t-shirt around his nipple. And so I did the marking and did all the prep work and stuff. And then we pierced him. And it was really funny. Men find nipple piercings hurt way more than women, which I always think is pretty hilarious. Women are usually there like, oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. And men are always like, ah, which is always amusing to me. And so he got his nipple pierced, and then they like leave. And I just think it's so funny that this man was like walking around town with just a hole cut out in his t-shirt with a fresh nipple piercing. There's something beautiful about it. I love it. That is my favorite story from being a piercer. There are a few more stories of like annoying clients, just weird people, things like that. If you want to know more piercing stories, let me know. Maybe I'll do a whole video on that. I don't know. Up to you. On to the questions about piercings. A question I got multiple times is about healing time for a bunch of different piercings. Like, when can I change them, when they will be fully healed? And it's different for every single piercing. So I will talk you through that now. For lobes, you get them pierced and you can change the jewelry after 6 weeks. However, they won't be fully healed for like 3 to 6 months. So just be wary of that. They'll start to heal closed very, very quickly because your body is still trying to heal it. And then it comes to cartilage piercings, which I don't know if they do it here, but at home, everyone calls helix piercings just cartilage piercings. And the problem with that is that there is so much cartilage. It's not just your helix. So like all of your ears are cartilage except for the lobes, and then your nostrils are also cartilage. And those take 12 weeks until you can change the jewelry safely, but 2 to 3 years to fully heal. They are so annoying to heal. Oh my good lord. Like helix piercings, probably my least favorite piercing to get. They're very easy to do. They're very quick, but I hate them. Mine are healed now. I've had them for like 6 years. Oh my god, I'm old. They take a ridiculous amount of time to heal because of where they are. Your hair gets stuck in them. You bump them with your like hairbrush and stuff a lot. If you have short hair, they're a lot better, but they often, you know, they'll get like bumps and things, and people think that it's infection, but it is not infection. That is just your piercing getting really angry because it's dirty. It's getting your hair wrapped around it. It's sleeping on it badly. It's often the jewelry is too tight. I always recommend getting a ring rather than a stud for just about all piercings because they allow for more room for swelling, but you don't want it to be a tight fitting ring. You need like a lot of space. You see how big this loop is? It just allows for swelling because if you've got a stud and it's like too short, it'll swell and then it'll like push against the bar, which is what causes the bump. And even if it doesn't look like it's like pushing too much, your body is still telling it that it's too tight. So if you do get a cartilage bump, on any piercing, you often get them on your nostril as well, make your jewelry bigger. If it's a stud, get a longer bar. If it's a ring, get a bigger ring and it should disappear. And if that doesn't help, get aspirin, crush it up, mix it with a little bit of water and turn it into a paste and put that onto it a couple times a day. Or you can use Cristoderm, which you can get like anywhere. But it's most likely the jewelry is too tight and that should fix it right up. Do not use tea tree oil because that'll suffocate the piercing because it's an oil. So yeah, cartilage piercings, that's like tragus, helix, conch, rook, nostril, all of that is cartilage. 12 weeks to change jewelry, 2 to 3 years to fully heal. I found my nostrils healed way quicker than the helix and the industrial just because you don't knock it as much, it doesn't get your hair wrapped around it, you're not sleeping on it. So nostrils heal a bit faster for me personally. And then like the conch and the tragus also heal quite quickly because again, it's not like being knocked all the time. These ones up here, I cannot express to you how annoying they are to heal. They are extremely popular and not everyone has the same experience as me, but oh my God, I hate it so much. I would never get one again. Actually, that's a lie. One of mine came out and I want it back. In terms of other healing times, so things like nipples are also around 12 weeks, but it takes about 6 months to fully heal. Same with navels. Lips, lip sort of area is also quite similar to like lobe type area with like 6 weeks. Tongues are quite quick too. In terms of the fastest healing piercings, that would be dermals and genital piercings. They take around 2 weeks to heal. So on the topic of like the healing and stuff of those, a lot of people asked like needles versus gun, particularly for like cartilage piercings. Like, will it shatter the cartilage? You can't shatter the cartilage. However, I am 100% anti-gun completely in every matter of the sense. Gun piercings are terrible. After I got my first needle piercing, I was like, I'm never ever using a gun ever again. And then working at a piercing shop, I am just so against guns. And I can tell you so many reasons as to why. Guns are blunt force trauma. You are having a very blunt piece of metal just jammed through wherever you're getting it done. Like really hard. I like to compare it. So like a gun piercing is sort of like that. Whereas a needle piercing is very smooth, but still very fast. And I find needle piercings hurt so much less and they heal so much quicker. When you get a gun piercing anywhere, they swell more and they just take longer to heal. They're also more likely to be uneven if you go to like a pharmacy or something because these people aren't trained piercers, they're pharmacists. With like lobe piercings with guns, they're meant to be in like the middle of your lobe to like look the best and you can't get up that high with guns most of the time. So your piercings are generally lower than they should be. So if you get a needle piercing, they are going to look better, they are going to heal better. Another thing with like needle piercings is what we like to do was use a needle, but you put in a piece of jewelry that's like slightly thinner than the hole because that allows for it to have room to heal rather than having to like just have something shoved in there. Also, guns are made out of plastic and I know some places use guns multiple times, but you can't sterilize plastic because in order to sterilize something, you have to put it through a statum, which is steam, temperature, and time machine. They use them at hospitals and everything to sterilize equipment. And it has to heat it with steam for 7 minutes at like 130 degrees, I think. You can't do that to plastic because it'll melt. So if someone's using a gun multiple times, it's not sterile. So keep that in mind. It's also wasteful, right? Like, if you are using single-time guns, they're like quite a fair amount of plastic and they're just being thrown out after every single use. In terms of, yeah, just no gun piercings anywhere. Needles are so much better. They can get the angles better. They heal so much faster. They're way less painful. Just everything about them is just better. Please don't get a gun piercing, and please go to a proper piercing shop. Don't go to a pharmacy or something. They are not trained in piercing. They don't know what they're doing. Aftercare. So, a lot of places will give you alcohol. Please don't use it. It'll burn the piercing. It's not actually doing anything. Like, putting alcohol on your open wound twice a day is just going to burn it, and it like burns the skin a lot. It can cause rejection. I guess it works for some people, but I have seen a lot of piercings be rejected because they were using alcohol. My piercings that have healed the fastest was just me getting in the shower and letting water run over it. Saline is fine, but you don't want to put in too much salt because that's too strong. And so making a correct saline can be quite difficult unless you buy like pre-made saline. The piercings for me that healed the most were the ones I just let water run over because I'm not touching it, I'm not doing anything to it, I'm just letting it be and heal on its own. Sort of like if you get a cut, you aren't going to be like rubbing stuff into it every single day, are you? No, you just leave it be and make sure it keeps clean by like making sure water like runs over it to get any dirt out. That's all you need to do. A question I got asked a lot was septum piercings and how much do septum piercings hurt? If a septum piercing is done correctly, they do not hurt very much at all. They make your eyes water, but they don't hurt that much. So I think a lot of people feel like it goes through like the hard part of your septum. So if you put your fingers in your nostril, you feel like the bone, but if you like pull down, there's like that soft bit there. That's what you want to pierce through, and it doesn't hurt very much. If it hurts, they've either gone through this part, which is too low and it might reject, or I feel like you can't pierce through that bone. Surely you can't do that. Oh my god, that would hurt so bad. Ugh. Nostril piercings, people ask me how much that hurt. And again, pain for piercings. A lot of people ask how much it hurt for all of my piercings. And so I thought I'd go through and quickly talk about it. I find none of them hurt that bad when they actually get pierced. It is a very quick pain. It's kind of like, don't twitch. Don't do that. It's kind of like, ooh, that wasn't very comfortable. Like getting my daith done, I find that felt tight but not sore because you've got like hands in your ear doing that. So it doesn't hurt a ton, but it is kind of annoying, but it healed quite well. Helix piercings, they don't hurt too bad, but like I said, the healing, I hated it so much. Industrial, not too fun because this is quite thick when you go through. So that was probably my most sore of all my ear piercings, but still like bearable. And again, the healing on an industrial is shit because like my hair would always get wrapped around this one. It would get knocked a lot. Oh my god. Healing of piercings is so much worse than the actual piercing. If you're looking into getting a piercing and you want to know the pain, don't think about how much it hurt getting it done. Think about the healing time because the healing is the worst part of a piercing 100%. So like I said, these ones up here, for me, the absolute worst healing. I hated it so much. It took so long. These hurt for about 3 years. This one probably took, again, like 1.5, 2 years for it to stop being just a bitch. The rest of my ear piercings were fine, except my third lobes. I had so many issues with them. I got them done like 3 times. Admittedly, I got them done with guns a couple times because I wasn't informed, and it caused like scar tissue buildup, and now I have like really lumpy scar tissue in my lobes. So the higher they get up into cartilage, the kind of more annoying they are to heal effectively. Nostrils, I sort of feel like it felt like dropping my phone on my face. Just like it kind of hurts. It's like impact. They hurt more than a septum piercing. So if you have your nostril pierced and you're worried about pain of a septum piercing, a nostril hurts a decent amount more than a septum. Yeah, it kind of feels like you've been punched in the face, but just not for too long, like half an hour maybe. It kind of feels bruised. Getting a conch piercing, you want to make sure you get it with a stud first, because if you get a ring and you sleep on it, it's going to move the piercing, it's going to put pressure on it because you need a big ring to heal it, and it's just going to be an absolute bitch. You can change to a ring once it's healed, but like wait 6 months. Just be patient. Don't go for a ring straight away, because if you can imagine, it would have to like stick out, and then sleeping on that is gonna fucking hurt. My most painful piercing was my dermals. I will show you a photo of what they look like. They hurt To explain a dermal, I'll show you a photo of sort of what they look like when they're not under your skin. But effectively, so the bar is about 3 millimeters long, and then the base is also like 3 to 5 millimeters, and the best ones have like the little holes. And so basically what you have to do, if you are like a bit squeamish, maybe skip this part. I'll put like a timestamp to where to go. But effectively, you've got to like pinch up the skin, and then you get a needle. They're like 14 gauge, and you like you like twist the needle in a little bit, and then you get the jewelry that's on like pliers, and you have to hook it under the skin and like push it, which like is bearable, but I got 3, and the skin on the back of your neck is quite tough. It's quite thick, and it didn't work. So he like pierced it, he hooked it under, he pushed it in, it wouldn't go in. And so he had to go in and re-pierce it and make like a cross with the needle. I'm so sorry. And like hook it under and push it in like really hard. And then I had to do that 3 times. It took 45 minutes of my neck being stabbed and having metal shoved under my skin. So after it happened, I stood up and I was shaking. I got really cold. He came up to me. He was like, "Are you okay?" Like he thought I was gonna pass out. Your adrenaline sort of pumps, your body just feels like it's been attacked. This is why piercings are addictive though. There is like an adrenaline rush with it. Like it was bearable, but my body also was like sending all its pain receptors to my neck. So I was like able to handle it quite well. It was fine. It was bearable. It hurt, but I kind of was numb to it. But then after that, because of where they are, and I wore a necklace, my necklace got hooked under one of them a bit. My hair would get wrapped around it a little bit. So the top came off one of them, which meant the base sort of started sinking into my skin. And so I went to work and I'm like, hey, the top came off and I can't see the base anymore because my neck was trying to fucking swallow it. I'm putting you all off getting this piercing. And so he had to get like a connector that was like this long with like a twisty bit that could twist onto the end. And he had to like go into the back of my neck and try find it and like bring it up. So he's like got the little stick in the back of my neck, trying to find it, twisting it in and trying to like slowly bring it up. And then he had to put a connector on it, so it made the piercing a bit longer so that the top could be put back on and hopefully bring it back up to the surface. My body didn't like them very much at all. I had a couple of them reject, and then I got all 3 of them redone in slightly different position. I got them more spread out than they were initially. They probably were there for about a year. I had to get 2 of them redone a couple times, and then eventually they all came out, and I would love to get them back, but I don't know how my body will handle it because it clearly didn't work very well the first like 3 times. And also I got them, you know, I got the piercings free and jewelry quite cheap, so it was very affordable for me. However, if I was to do it now with the jewelry that I like, which is very expensive because I know what my body likes, and I like titanium and I like opals, synthetic opals, but I like opals, it would cost me like upward of £200, and I do not have the money for that. I'm not willing to pay that much for it at this point in time. Please don't use my story to put you off getting it. A lot of people who get nape piercings, they last for years. They are one of the most solid places to get dermals. Dermals will often reject because they're on like thin skin and they're very shallow, so they will very regularly reject after like a couple of years, whereas the ones on your neck should be very solid. And my boss had never seen piercings on your neck reject that much that quickly. And he was very perplexed by it because oftentimes they would last years on his clients. So please do not let my story put you off. That's just my experience with it. Just very annoying because I really wish they'd have stayed. This next part is going to be a little 18+ part. So if you're a minor, maybe skip over this. I also have both my nipples pierced and a VCH piercing. And a VCH piercing is a vertical clitoral hood piercing, where basically it goes through the hood of the clit, so not the actual clit itself. And so I've got like a little opal that's like decorative at the top, and then there's like a little ball that sits on top of your clit, so it like adds stimulation because there's something like rubbing your clit when there's something moving down there, you know? And a lot of people ask, holy shit, did that not hurt? Now, the reason I got this, one of the reasons is working at a piercing shop, you see so many people getting piercings, and I'm really curious to know how much it hurts. And so I got it because I'm like, well, this sounds like a great piercing because it enhances sexual pleasure, but also I'm really curious to know how much it hurts. So I got it done, and honestly, it doesn't hurt that much at all. I'd say it hurt less than a nostril. It hurt less than my cartilage piercings, honestly. I didn't think it hurt at all. It was way, way easier than I thought. And like I said, they heal really quickly within like 2 weeks. I really like the way that it looks. It's given me like confidence because I'm someone who is very self-conscious of like my vulva. It's just something that I'm self-conscious of, and I am not, you know, I feel like so many women have that where we're like really self-conscious of like our vulvas, and we're made to feel that they have to look a specific way, which I think is so stupid, that we're self-conscious of literally every part of our body. So I did it for like a confidence boost to enhance sexual pleasure, and because I was curious, and I do not regret it at all. I love it and I recommend it. Genuinely, more people should get them done. And then nipple piercings. Nipple piercings became really popular. We were getting way more nipple piercings than we were navel piercings. And at home, you can get your nipple pierced at 16. And so there were a lot of like 16-year-olds getting theirs done. I got mine done when I was 16. And I find it hurt a fair amount more than a VCH piercing. So if you have a nipple piercing and you wanted to get a VCH piercing, but you were afraid of the pain, nipple piercing hurts about 3 times more, maybe 4 times more. Because it's quite thick, right? It's like thick. So it hurts. But again, bearable. I would just recommend wearing a bra, but not like a thick bra because that'll suffocate it, but just to keep it from rubbing and to keep it from bumping just while it's healing. Also, you want to make sure that there is room in the bar. I've recently had one of mine flare up a little bit, and so I've had to order in a new bar that's a bit bigger, and it has settled down now, and I'm just going to keep that in there because what happened was I caught it and like it ripped, and so it swelled. I cannot tell you how much it hurts to like catch your nipple piercing. Holy shit. And people ask in terms of breastfeeding. As far as I'm aware, it is fine for breastfeeding because they should heal up. I haven't really heard otherwise. I think a couple people have had trouble with it, but as a whole, overall, it's generally fine. And again, I really like them. I'm also someone who is very self-conscious of my boobs, which is why, you know, I made my t-shirt with pointy boobs because I have small pointy boobs and it's something that I'm very self-conscious of. So getting the piercings, again, gave me like a boost of confidence, like, fuck yeah. Piercings anywhere are a great confidence boost, I find. And I just love them. I got addicted to them for a while. I was getting them really regularly, but again, I didn't have to pay for them, so it was easy for me to do that. I haven't had one in ages, and I really want more. I want my dermals back. In terms of types of metal, I am someone who is very sensitive to metal. Stainless steel, also known as surgical steel, is great. It's what like all of doctors' tools and things are made of, surgical steel, stainless steel, it's the same thing. And it's cheaper than silver, which is shit, by the way. Silver can oxidize. I am allergic to silver. I put a silver ring on my finger and my whole finger swelled up and blistered. It's really fun. But you can not be allergic to silver and build up an intolerance to it. I used to be fine with silver, but I wore silver earrings in my lobes for like 3 years, and then now I'm allergic to it. So that's fun. I know it's like brighter and shinier than stainless steel, but I definitely recommend stainless steel. However, if you do want to wear silver and it is something that your body doesn't react to very well, paint over it with a coat of clear nail polish, because clear nail polish is biocompatible, so it doesn't like react. It just acts as a varnish, and it will stop you from being allergic to the metal because it puts a coat over it. So that works for any like cheap jewelry and things as well. If you want to wear like costume jewelry, that can really help. It also works if you have like really heavy earrings in your lobes to stop them from tearing, because if it's thin metal and it's heavy, it's gonna like drag your lobes down. Like you see like old ladies with like their lobe piercings really low because it's like dragged down. If you thicken the post, they won't tear. So if you have really thin earrings and you want to keep them like that, paint over them with like a few coats of clear nail polish. Or it doesn't have to be clear. You can use like purple nail polish if you want purple earrings. Totally up to you. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. But titanium. Titanium is the best. Titanium is what they use for like implants and things as well. So like if you have like an implant in your arm or your leg or your neck or wherever, that's titanium. It's really light, so it doesn't feel like there's anything there. It's great. Most of my jewelry is titanium. It is more expensive, but it is definitely worth it. I had someone ask about tapering a nostril. Now, let me tell you, stretching a nostril hurts so bad. That's the most painful thing I've ever done. Not any piercing. Tapering my fucking nostril. Holy shit. Basically, your nostril is cartilage, right? Stretching cartilage. Not a fan. Basically what happened to me, I bought like some cheap jewelry, and it was like 20 gauge, and the ring that I liked was 16 gauge, I believe, and I really wanted it, and so I had to get it tapered up. It hurt so bad. Like, they couldn't get the taper all the way through. It took like half an hour. They couldn't get the taper all the way through, and then they had to like pull it out, instead of keeping it go through. You know how when you stroke a cat backwards, all of its fur like sticks up? It feels like it's doing that through your fucking nostril. And I don't know if everyone has that experience, but that's how it felt to me and I hated it. So if you want to stretch your nostril, go for it. But it fucking hurts. If you're getting nostril jewelry, keep it at about 18 gauge. If you go any smaller than that, changing up a gauge is so difficult. Also, nose bones. So this is a nose bone where it has like the ball on the inside and then the thin post. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Holy shit. Because what happens is you push it through, the bigger part through, and then it's got the bigger part on the inside, so you can't get it out because it like heals around the smaller part. How stupid is that? How fucking stupid is that? Because how you can't ever get it out. You have to like rip your nostril to pull it out because you're fitting a bigger thing through your nostril that is healed. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I've done it before and it got stuck. A majority of my job was fixing botched piercings. I should have said this earlier. People would go get piercings at like cheap places and they'd be done badly. They'd be done crookedly. They'd be done with bad jewelry. They'd be done with too small jewelry. The amount of nightmare piercings that came in, and it was my job to fix them. So like, believe me when I say, please go to a place where you trust, you know it's good, you know it's hygienic, and you know that they know what they're doing, because it's just not worth it, man. Like the amount of embedded piercings and things that I've seen. Also, if you notice something going wrong, please just go into your piercing shop. They should fix it for free. And if they don't, fuck them, honestly. I think that is the majority of the questions that I got asked. I'm sorry if I went off on a few tangents. I don't even know if this video makes sense. But you know, it is what it is. I hope that you learned something. Please be careful when you get piercings. If you have any more questions, let me know. If you want me to do like a part 2 of this, let me know. Let me know what you want to see. I'm happy to tell you more piercing stories. I'm happy to talk more about specific piercings. Whatever. Let me know what you want to see. Before I leave, I would like to give a big thank you to our patrons. Amy, Emily, Iz, Eliza, Scar, Jordan, Gina, Midge, Phoebe, Roxy, Theo, Sarah, Bunny, Nicolaj, and Jess. Thank you all so much. I appreciate and love you all so much. You really help in keeping me be able to create content here, as well as help Kat and I continue to create our podcast every Wednesday. If you haven't listened to our podcast, I will leave a link in the description. But we talk about a bunch of different shit. We get really angry and we go on rants. It's brilliant. And also, as usual, get my t-shirts. They are linked down below. They're all carbon neutral, plastic free, fair trade, sustainable, organic cotton, all that good stuff that we like. And I hand stitch them all with love, and they're fully customizable, and there's pride tees and everything. So if you are interested, check that out. I appreciate it so much. Yeah. So thank you for coming along. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. And when you close your eyes, you replace the dark.